I think there's like some beauty in like the scrappiness of like, if you start off scrappy, there's just a magic that like comes from the business that like money can't buy that.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sistervention, where we have the real conversations, the necessary conversations, and I give you all my tough love wrapped in wisdom. Today, we have a very, very, very special episode because honestly, I want to have a Sistervention on drinking. It's one thing to go to brunch, have a mimosa, but when we get to the point where you're asking your friend if she's pregnant and what's going on and why she don't want to take the shot, baby, we need to have a Sistervention, okay? It is okay to not want to drink. I am here with the founders of Drink Sensori. They have reimagined drinking and given us a healthy alternative so you can still feel something, but you don't have the hangover. So let me introduce my girls, Ashlyn, Shanna, and Darian, the founders of Drink Sensori. Well, hi, ladies.
Hi.
So look, you guys are in for a treat today. I am in for a treat because this is my first time ever drinking Drink Sensori. So let's just all do a taste test together.
Let's crack it open. I always struggle to open it with my nails.
I do too. I'd be like,
My nails are too long.
A little cheers.
Yes.
Little cheers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's so funny that your podcast name is the Sistervention because our term of endearment for each other and like all of our friends is sister. Like I even call my daughter sister and people are like, sister.
Yeah, I feel like I call Nova sister too. I'm always like, hi, sister. That's probably why she acts like her bestie.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's honestly what this podcast is about, right? The sisterhood of it all, whether blood or by choice. We're all sisters in this thing, okay?
Sisters.
So let's taste history. Let's start it off.
Me over here already drinking it.
It's me acting shocked every time.
I know, you guys are
like, oh my
tasting
God.
it.
But it's like still just crazy.
I know, it is
love
crazy.
it. It's very refreshing. So this flavor is raspberry cucumber. And I hate that if you are listening to this and you're not watching, I think this is the episode you might want to watch just so you can get the full vibe because the girls are in the studio today, okay? But it is a raspberry cucumber drink. It's very refreshing. I love this.
Yes.
Oh my
So
God,
glad
I
you
have
like.
so much I want to ask you guys. I don't even know where to begin. Well, I mean, I do, but
You're like, I do, actually.
I actually do. So I want to start off, for everyone who does not know, you guys have been friends since high school, right?
Yes.
So one thing I really love about Sistervention is that we bring on all types of people, but you guys are the first group of, I would say, sisters, even though you guys are not fully blood related. You're the first sisters. And as an entrepreneur, you guys are all fellow entrepreneurs. How is it working with your sisters?
I personally love it because I feel like where they're like the formalities, like we can get past the formalities and we can be authentic with each other.
Yeah.
We also know each other, so we know like how to not like press each other's buttons, and we know how to respect each other's boundaries because we know each other so well. And I don't know if that's always the case for like when family work together, because sometimes I feel like if you're family, you almost like don't care about boundaries because you're just like, they're my family. But I feel like we, at least us three, we have a really good dynamic.
Yes. And I would say also, I feel like it comes from us all being really aware like of ourselves, but also of each other and what we all might be going through like in our personal lives or just our work lives, because we do also work 9-to-5s. And so keeping all of that just in mind, being mindful of each other is really helpful. And also just thinking of all the little things that one might need really like helps us, I feel like, just push all of our business and personal lives together as a team, because we really are on the phone, texting, emailing 24/7.
Constant stream of communication.
24/7.
I would say that I think that, I don't know if we could have done this at another point in our friendship. I think because, to Darian's point, we've all kind of developed to a point and have become really self-aware of ourselves. And we've got to watch each other learn and grow to where we know where our strengths are, what's going to annoy us. Like if you say this at a certain time of day for each one of us. So I feel like this is almost like the perfect time, like also given our experience, which we can kind of get into, but also just like personal development. I think that this is like the perfect time. And that has allowed us to be able to start things a little bit quicker.
I'd agree. I'd say a funny thing is, and I don't know if y'all feel this way, but I can definitely, we know each other so well, we can text and read each other's energy at that moment.
Like I'll be like, I'm sorry if I'm being mean right now.
Like,
Because I know I'm being
my
mean.
girls will know if I'm excited, if I'm anxious, and I don't have to say anything. And that honestly is a really good feeling because I get to work with like my two best friends, but also I just wholeheartedly trust them. And, you know, there's a lot of emotions in business, and I feel like you need that support behind you.
Yeah. I'd also say one thing for me that stands out with working with family, and I went to Essence Fest this past year, and I heard the host of Earn Your Leisure talking about how like people recommend like don't work with family, don't work with friends, it goes bad. And their perspective was, well, you work with like the people you work with when you're building a business, you work with them 24/7. And so why not do it with people that you like genuinely love? And so that always resonated with me, and I've just had a lot of like trust and comfort in doing it with people that, again, like we trust each other, we know each other. I know when like if one of us are in a mood, we know it, and we just know to like give space and respect that like time. So I think it's been a positive. Obviously, you have to learn boundaries and each other, but it's been positive for us.
Yeah.
And we love boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a Sistervention listener,
we
you know we
love
talk
boundaries.
about boundaries every week, because I just believe that when you are a woman, a go-getter, an ambitious woman, you have to set boundaries, right? We are so willing to just overextend ourselves for every little thing. And if you do not have those boundaries, friendship, business, whatever, or if you're mixing the two, it's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
So you touched on so many points, right? I think working with family and friends, I think is a beautiful thing, which is why I was so excited to start a series on like sisterhood and entrepreneurship, because I think we shy away from it a lot, but who better to do it with than your girls? And it's so hard to do things alone.
So hard.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so hard. So I love that you guys are thriving and working well together. And to your point of being evolved, come on now. All right. Because if you're not, and that's just in general, any type of relationship, business, personal, if you're dealing with someone who is not evolved or not committed to continuing to evolve and be their highest self, it's always going to be hard to work with them, regardless family or not. I've had so many people at work that I'm like, wow, I hate this. Like, not you, but this. I hate the situation that we're in. But a lot of it is because they haven't done the work. And because you guys are friends and sisters, you can really hold each other accountable and say, hey, sis, that tone, it was a little crazy. What's going on?
Are we okay?
I think that's what's always connected us too, is I feel like literally since we've been like kids, because I feel like we actually started becoming friends in middle school through track.
Yeah, I think I was, I knew you when I first moved to
but she was
Dallas.
more of like in my younger brother's friend group, but we ran track together. So we were always like together. But I forgot what I was going, I was going to say, I feel like something that connected us both, all of us, was like our care for like growing as people. Like we've always been like, back when no one, like in middle school and high school, who cares about like personal development and like becoming your best self? But like we've all been
like
those girlies since
we're like 17.
like we've literally, this has been us, and now it's 29-year-old
We
version
spent the
of us.
pandemic on like a self-healing journey together, and we would really wake up every morning on Sunday
We always said we
and
should go back to
journal.
pandemic.
I know
We watched church together. That was our Michael Todd era.
until Michael.
But I think we were living parallel lives in the pandemic.
But it was like such a good time.
Literally same. I was watching Mike Todd. I was like losing weight. I was hiking every day.
He was my personal trainer.
Yeah, like I was teaching like live classes. Like we still then I feel like also had like an endless stream of communication, and that kind of like really kickstarted. We were already into wellness, but I feel like that time being able to really be really intentional with wellness really kicked off this mindset that eventually turned into sensory.
I love that. Okay, well, let's get into how this all came about. Who came up with the idea for this?
So I first started concepting the idea back in January of 2024. However, I feel like it's such a long time coming before then. Like it's like that was the moment where my fiance was like, why don't you start an alcohol alternative? Like you're always buying these like non-alcoholic beverages and complaining about the taste or the lack of sensation. And it was like, start your own. But I think really it was like many years in the making, like even back to our 2020 like pandemic era, like we were always talking about like supplements and things that we should be taking in our bodies to like help ease our anxiety and help ease our stress, the more natural route. So I would say it's been a long time coming. But since January of 2024 is when I first started like conceptualizing like, okay, let's start trying like different adaptogens and nootropics and like seeing how they affect the body. And I was literally like, Ashley was coming over. Like she was coming over and I was like,
she's like, I made this for you. Can you try it? Then you're going to come over and hang out for an hour so that way you can get
see the effect.
It was like an experiment every time I went to hang out at her house.
She came from New York to visit and I was like, okay, look, I got all these tinctures and like I want to put them in our beverage and like let's see how it makes us feel.
Yeah.
And we were just trying different variations of it for like probably like 4 or 5 months, just like trying a bunch of lion's mane, trying a bunch of reishi, trying a bunch of kanna, blue lotus, and then mixing them and seeing how it made us feel. And then we were like, oh, this is good. Like we should.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. And then found a formulator. And then we just kind of made it an official partnership, and
I love that.
here we are.
That is so amazing. Okay, so everyone tell me what you do at the company. Starting with you.
So it's funny, I'm CEO, and I mainly focus, so formally, I'm supposed to focus on big vision and growth and whatnot. But honestly, because we are a small, scrappy team, like our hands are everywhere.
Yeah,
like,
everywhere.
I really right now manage like a lot of our email marketing. I manage a lot of our outreach to like partnerships, whether that be like distributors or like even like content creators. But again, like we do it all. Like I'm also packing orders every day, every single day. Like I'm the one in my garage, like packing orders. But again, we are all.
So if you got a handwritten note, that was Shanna.
Excuse my handwriting. When I'm writing a bunch of them, like I start scribbling. I'm like, sorry.
No, but that's so nice that as a brand, you guys are really trying to make those like consumer touch points. Because
people loved the handwritten note.
It's always
Now she had a
appreciated.
hand cramp, but it's all good.
Okay, so Darian, what do you do?
I'm COO, so I handle all things like operation, just making sure our roadmap goes smoothly, which, you know, with a business, I feel like it never does.
No, never.
But that's the goal. And then all things like from finance, just trying to ensure that, you know, we have a handle on it and that we're being mindful. With having fun with creatives and marketing, it's really easy to just want to, you know, rack up credit card, but I try to be mindful and, you know, have us like take a step back and look at, you know, what we can actually manage.
No balls drop with Darian.
I love that.
No balls dropped, and she always brings us back down to earth. We're like, we should do this, this, and this, and she's like, well, this is how much is in the account.
It's like, no.
The other day, she called Darian the voice of reason, and I was like, facts.
She is.
Like, absolutely.
She
that
is.
so factual.
Because we can
like,
get spinning and spinning and spinning.
we can get lost in the sauce as creatives and just be like, oh my gosh, let's do this and that and that. And Darian's like, grounds us to be
She
like,
says,
But I love it. Like, I need them
I just
to
watch her shake
give
her head.
all of
She's
the
always
big
like,
ideas,
yeah.
and I track them all. Like, I will then create a roadmap and be like, look, all of these ideas,
Right.
this is when we can probably do them.
And
Be
here too.
She's
and
like,
now I need us to,
she's
now I
like,
need
it's
us to
giving
stop
January
talking about it.
2026. She's like, love that January
put a
next year.
pin in this.
Love it.
You always need that though.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ashlyn, what do you do for the company?
I'm our CMO, so all things marketing, campaign planning. In today's day and age, marketing is very heavily leaning in social media, which is a lot of my background, so it's been really fun to finally have. I feel like something that I can really have my own creative spin on, planning photo shoots, content all the time, which is why I'm so excited that your brother will be coming to Dallas for this summer.
Oh, a little shout out to Charles.
Shout out to Charles.
And that beautiful Instagram feed, all Ashlyn.
Yes,
I do my
so nice. Oh my
Creative
goodness.
queen. Like, I don't think she gives herself enough credit on just like her creative genius.
I
like,
try my
truly
best.
Creative genius.
I absolutely love that. If you guys have not already started searching them up, make sure you follow their Instagram. Ashlyn, where can they find you?
At Drink Sensori on Instagram and on TikTok. We've been ramping up on TikTok. It's a daunting place to be, but we're doing our best. So follow us on TikTok, same handle at Drink Sensori.
Ashlyn put us on a schedule.
Yes, I did.
Content
Like
schedule.
Shanna's this day, Darian's this day, and I broke it up and I was like, look, by 10 p.m. that night, give
I
me
need
the
your
content.
You know what? I
And
love
that's
that.
the
I love
rules.
girls with a plan and a mission, and they're sticking to it. So, Darian, you are the voice of reason. What would you guys call Shanna?
The dreamer.
Yeah, the visionary.
Okay, she's a visionary. I love that. It makes sense, obviously. CEO. Okay, and then Ashlyn, we know you're the creative queen. But is that what you guys call her, the creative queen?
I would call her our creative queen.
I would call her, creative queen. I feel like you balance out like any room that you're in. Like, I don't know. I'm like, if we could get like a big, nice, like, so we called you the voice of reason, the
I love when people
visionary.
talk. I'm like, tell me some more.
I mean, she's just like, I guess creative genius is definitely like.
It really is. I mean, the amount of people that have complimented, like, come up to me and complimented our TikTok.
Yeah,
and
people say
Instagram.
that's really professional. I'm like,
And then I have to credit everything to Ashlyn.
Right.
Like, on Monday, which is, our program planning, it's all to Ashlyn.
Yeah.
The
We are big Monday.com
ideation,
girls.
the captions, most times the creative direction behind everything, our photo shoots, like, without our little Ashapoo, which is funny because when Shanna Sorry for the nickname. She's like our baby.
They're like a few years older than me,
Those
so
are
like
baby.
that's always like
Yeah, she was
always like I'm like
almost
so
my
you guys.
sister-in-law. Not to give the tea, but
I
yes, that's also what brought us closer. We dated brothers.
I
yeah,
love
more
this.
tea.
And we plotted on her dating her.
We plotted on getting them back together at some point. That ship has sailed.
We just wanted to really be family. We
wanted to be family by blood so bad.
No, it's funny. So she dated in high school. Her boyfriend.
I'm just like, how did I get in
I'm gonna get the tea. Her boyfriend was my boyfriend's like best friend, and then her boyfriend was my boyfriend's little brother. So we were just like three
Takes a sip.
Yeah, takes a sip.
Shout out to
And
all
sip
the brothers.
shout out to all the
Brothervention,
brothers.
okay?
The brothers bringing the sisters together.
Brothers bringing the sisters together.
Cheers to
I would
that.
argue we maybe brought them together. Well, maybe not the brothers that were born together, but
Yeah, so they were born together. They did grow in the same
they
household.
were born from the same womb. But
I'm crying. No, I love this. And you can tell that you guys are like really friends, right? I think that we see sometimes it's like, oh yeah, we were cooling over two ideas. But it's like, no, you guys are genuinely friends. You go back so far. To spill more tea, Shanna is getting married.
Sensori's first wedding.
Episode comes out. I think it'll be your wedding weekend.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So
Wait, that's exciting.
That is so she'll be a married woman by the time you guys are all flooding the Sensory DM. So do not.
No sliding in Shanna's DM. She is taken
oh
forever.
yes, I am taken. And my soon-to-be husband is he don't play that. So.
Right. We love a man who don't play about his squirrel.
Period.
Okay, so I want to touch on a few things. So one, we talked about a little bit about the ingredients. So what exactly is in this, and how did you guys really decide what was going to be in this?
Yeah. So I first actually jumped on a call with a formulator, and just to kind of pick his brain on like, if I wanted to create this sensation, which I guess I can rewind and say the sensation I was after was like that heart opening, like, you know, when you just like have that experience, like you leave a friend that like you love and you just like your heart's open and you're so happy and you feel uplifted, but you also have a sense of clarity.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I want. Like I want to have a clear mind, but I want people to also have like this like euphoric, like inner joy bubbling within them. But I also want them to feel like emotionally in tuned and in touch. And so I jumped on a call with the formulator and I was like, what would you recommend if I was going for that feeling? And I didn't know about Blue Lotus, I'll be honest. Like I knew nothing about Blue Lotus. I knew nothing about Kana. And he was the one who was like, look into those two botanicals and just like experiment with them. Blue Lotus, a little backstory, because I'm kind of like an ingredient nerd, honestly.
We call her our herbalist.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a little herbalist. Like,
You need this.
put me in the kitchen to cook up some herbs.
Guys, this is real life here. I'm not just telling y'all anything. This is real research that has been done, tested, tried, and true. Okay.
Tried and true. So Blue Lotus originally it's an Egyptian lily flower.
Okay.
And Egyptians back in the day, they would put it in their wine and they would drink it and they would engage in sexual behaviors. That was like what it was known for. It's like a lot of people call it an aphrodisiac.
Okay.
But I would say that's not the sensation I have. I would definitely say it gives like a nice body, like calm, but it also like kind of stimulates this sense of like joy. Like, I don't know how else to put that, but there's just like this joy that.
Because Kana also is like a natural serotonin.
Yeah.
And so I always feel like uplifted and calm, of
Just
course,
gives me,
like the reishi, the
sense of
magnesium.
optimism. Like
Yes,
I feel like after Matt drinks it, he's like, I just feel like I can take on the world.
I do.
Like,
I always tell them, like, when I'm upset or even on my menstrual cycle, the first thing I do is like go for a sensory and it like clears my mind.
Yeah, no, for sure. The Kana, to Darian's point, so Kana stimulates your serotonin, which if you don't know like what your serotonin does, that's like your happy chemical.
Yeah.
So like when you do anything that like brings you a sense of like joy, like you're releasing serotonin in your brain, and Kana stimulates serotonin. And then lion's mane is a adaptogen that people use for like mental clarity and mental focus. A lot of people also use lion's mane as an alternative to like ADHD medicine. I've also learned that a lot of people use Kana as an alternative to like antidepressants or like your SSRIs. So very functional ingredients. And like if you drink like one or two in the right setting, like you definitely like get this like
nice chill vibe.
I will say one of my favorite thing about Blue Lotus as well is that it helps you recall your dreams. And so you can have some of the most vivid dreams, but they're very positive. And I feel like that's a mix of the like Kana, lion's mane, and also just the magnesium. As all the girls know, we all love magnesium.
Right.
And so I feel like the mixture of that just really puts you while you're awake, you're really calm, you're uplifted. But when you go to sleep, you're actually able to like then relax. And so especially, you know, all the busy girls, your brain is moving when you go to sleep. And it, to me, really silences your thoughts, which is really nice. Then you can recall your dreams, and the magnesium just helps you wake up the next day just feeling like your brain got a bit of like the actual release that it needed, which is what magnesium is honestly there for.
Yeah, people even have told us, like with their Aura rings and their Ultra Human rings, that they're getting better sleep scores because of the Blue Lotus, because you have those dreams because you're deeper in that REM. So it's literally the opposite of having a hangover. Like you could drink this in the evening and wake up and actually feel better than you did the day before. So it's almost like the opposite effect, actually.
Oh, pretty much everyone needs to be drinking that.
Everyone needs to be drinking it.
All that, the mocktail that all the girlies are making, you know, they're buying 1 million tinctures. Sensory, it's like all in one.
One in a can, in a cute can.
You can drink it during the day, at night.
It's like low in sugar, which is
yes,
low
in sugar.
The mocktails, you'll just, it's
Too
like
much syrup.
outside the liquor. Like, it's,
30 calories, 7 grams of sugar, and no added sugar. That's all from our natural juices. So, you know, it's for the healthy girls too.
It's for
the healthy girl.
I love that. Okay, so the timeline, I know it may seem long to you guys, but it seems very short to me. I'm like, wait, you guys did this so quickly, it feels like.
It is kind of crazy.
We definitely didn't jump on it.
It is
Hannah
kind
called
of
me September 2024. I was walking out of Pilates, and she's like, all right, I have the idea. I told you I would call you. And I was like, are you in? And I said, yeah, let's call Ashlyn. And I said, did you call Ashlyn? She's like, I'm going to. No, did you call Ashlyn?
It was
Every
very
day.
fast.
It was.
Oh my God.
I think it was like by that time it was like October, and Shannon was like, okay, because by that time I obviously knew about it. Like she had come up with the name, like we had already kind of had the formula down. I told you she was cooking up the kitchen. And she was like, so like, I know you have a lot going on, but are you in? And I was like, I'm in, girl. I'm in.
And she had no choice but to be in.
Yeah,
I will say they both didn't know this, but she had no choice.
But I feel like also, like, so her and I, we work, so I do PR, and I had a bunch of clients. I think this was back in 2023.
Yeah. It was like when I first moved to Dallas. So 2023, 2022, I think.
So I had a bunch of PR clients. She had a bunch of social clients where she was doing, like, leading their content strategy. And so we always worked together in that realm. And so we've kind of always even said, like, we need a product brand. Like, we'd always be like, say, like, these product brands, like right now we do a service-based business, and like it's great. Like I love that, like working those businesses have helped us like learn so much. Like I wouldn't even know this stuff if I didn't have the clients I had like to kind of like inspire it. Her and I always say we need a product-based business that's like in the wellness space. And so it was definitely like we knew it would come eventually.
Yeah. There was months and months and months when we finally decided to stop running like our agencies. We were like, we need a product. We need a product because we can only scale a service-based business with ourselves. And we were like, we're tapped out. Yeah. So when we decided to take a break from that, we were always like, we need a product, but we're just like waiting on God to give it to us. Like, what is the idea going to be?
Like, it was like a waiting game for so long, like to get the inspiration. And then again, back in January of 2024, my fiance was like, girl, why don't you just do this? And I actually, after he said it, I was like, dang, you're so right. Why didn't I think of that myself? I was like, why did you, like, I don't know why that didn't come to me. Like, but yes.
Sometimes, God uses other people. So, and you may have not received it, right? It comes to your head, you're like, nah, and then you hear from somebody else, it's like, oh yeah, duh.
What a good idea.
It's a great idea. I think that's so interesting when you speak about like service-based products, because that's something even myself, and I think a lot of people watching, you only have 24 hours in a day. I tell everyone, even if you do provide a service-based business, you need to have an extension of it that whether it's merch or product something, so that way you wake up to the dollar signs and the sales. Not that money's everything, guys, but we all need to live, right? So it's like
it needs to be working in the background for sure.
Yeah, you need something that's also going to just be able to like work for you, right? Yeah. Put in the service-based things that need to happen. You guys are everyday marketing, the packaging, the sending out the physical orders. But there's also just nice that once that system is set up, you now have a product.
We can wake up to say
Shopify, ding, ding, ding,
ding. It's so nice.
You're not running yourself raggedy.
We almost technically we did tap out of girl bossing because of that, because we were both we had clients, and we were doing like I think at one point I had 6 clients where I was doing their PR. You probably had
I had like 8 clients at the time. Darian also had a fashion company at that point, and she was one of my clients. So
I do still have a service-based company.
She still does service-based business.
I have a consulting and career coaching company.
Darian's always
and I'm
things
definitely trying to build it up this year even more, like hoping to go start speaker events at universities. But I am building out products for the service.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, I think when you have a skill, right, it's kind of inevitable.
It's hard to not
you still, but I think to your point of being able to tap out of girl bossing like a little bit, it allows you to be able to be a little bit more strategic and a little bit more specific about what you want to do and how you want to show up in the space, because you're not pressed for dollars or opportunities because you have other things going on. But you guys are really doing it all. I mean, we got boyfriends and weddings and businesses. It's just the girls have a lot going on, but that is what Sistervention is all about, right? Like, we're all well-rounded girlies who are managing it all, and we know that we can't do it alone. So that's why we're here to have these conversations. You guys talked about money, right? So I know, Darian, you are the finance girly. Where did y'all get the money to start this?
Oof, you know? I would say one thing that helps is that there's 3 of us.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another point of doing it something together than by yourself.
But I think there is a, fear of debt. And keep in mind, like, I'm someone who is very much like mindful of debt. Like, I live in New York. I do it all by myself. But you also have to realize that debt also makes you money. And a lot of high earning individuals are in debt with other people, like loans, investments, etc., in order to make more money. So,
gotta pay to play.
Business cards. Yeah. Business cards, as well as like, some of us have had like savings in other places where it's like that was just sitting there for fun moments. And it's like, well, now you have to make the decision of like, how much do you trust your company to take this, for 8K that you were saving for maybe like a vacation for Europe? And do you want to put it all into your business because it's going to the return's going to be 3 times. Yeah. So between, savings, business cards,
and then bootstrapping.
So no investors.
And selling the product.
No investors. But
that is amazing.
I would say, like, I know that we have so many family and friends supporting us. If we needed, money here and money there, I know that we have people that would be willing to lend us money. But as of now, we've been able to bootstrap it, and I'm really proud of us.
Yeah.
I mean, can we just, come on.
The clap on the chin.
That is so impressive, because I think a lot of times people are just really scared to bet on themselves. And I wanted to ask you guys that because, I don't see you guys, posting like all these things about, funding and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, how do these girls do that? And I think it's so important for people to understand, like, you can just bet on yourself. Like, as much as it's nice to get investors, I tell everyone, like, personally, I try not to have investors just because that's another person that you have to report to. So when you decide that you're going to be a boss and a CEO, as soon as you get a board, as soon as you get investors, now you have bosses. The people who are like, where's my money? Where is it? So I think that's so great because now you guys really have full creative control. And I also think there's just a different level of investment when you've literally invested your own money, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say, like, we are definitely in a place where, like, the right investor we're open to, but to your point, it's like we know that that's like that can be a very slippery slope, and so we just want to be very mindful of like when we go into that partnership, we want to make sure it's the right person. And also, I think there's like some beauty in like the scrappiness of like, I think we heard that from the Array founder saying like, if you start off scrappy, there's just a magic that like comes from the business that like money can't buy that.
Yes.
Like money can't buy. We even had a call with a content like consultant the other day, and he was just like, okay, yeah, you guys can go and try and raise a bunch of money, or you can bet on yourselves and like start telling your story. Yeah. And that was like for us, like light bulb. Like we're like,
and you can just save back to the money. You save a lot of money by betting on yourself and being scrappy. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. But a lot of times I would rather us not do something for 2 days than go spend the money that we actually need to keep to invest in like more product, which, we are dropping another SKU this summer.
We are dropping.
It's going to be a little spicy. But it's, those dollar signs really add up, and we have to accept that we need to be scrappy, or some days we might be tired, and it's actually okay that we don't post that day.
Yeah.
Like we notice it more than anyone else.
Right. We're not clocking your page.
But like sometimes in our brain it feels like that. We're like, oh my gosh, we missed one email.
No, and I missed the newsletter.
Oh my god.
But I think that's honestly like a requirement to really building a brand, is just to be really fluid and like just kind of going with the flow and like letting momentum take you. But when you need a rest, like we have no problem giving ourselves a rest. Like I will
love
be very
that.
But I think that's to like back to like the development point.
Yeah,
of, like
just being evolved.
We have been to the point of that girl bossing where all three of us were like, hey, like we're tapped out.
Yeah.
And so now I think we know our limits better in terms of if we're gonna keep pushing this forward for like the years and years to come, we can't really afford to get to the point of burnout with this.
Right.
We're in too deep. So let's take a break. If we need to take a break for 2 days, it's cool. It's fine.
I absolutely love that.